Welcome to today's Facebook Live, and thank you for being patient with me as I am jumping on here about 10 minutes later than I usually do. As you guys know, we have moved into a new home, and I have been busy these last few minutes just tidying up and getting together Landon's room since moving in. I've done the quintuplets, the boys and the girls, the upstairs, the downstairs, and Landon's room. I am downsizing with how large his room was in the last house. And so it's just taken me a minute to put together all of that stuff. So thanks for waiting and being so patient. Shirley, you were the first person that I am seeing that has jumped on here. Welcome everybody. As always, be sure to give a shout out to where you were from. It's so fun to make those connections. We have viewers that live, as you guys know, from all over the world. Darlene, it's good to see you. Amanda has just joined us as well. And Susan, it's good to see you too. So I am sitting in our brand new entryway of our new home. So it is a little bit messy. My kids have been making paper airplanes, and anyway, we've got paper airplanes all over this house. But I am so excited to be sharing just what we are up to these days as we are moving in, adjusting to a new school schedule, and just so much more. Vanessa is joining us from New Jersey. Hi, Vanessa. Haley Bourne has just joined us. Welcome, Haley. And Judy is from Australia. Judy Young, it's good to see you again. And Gina is from Connecticut. Thank you for hopping on and joining us. Denise is watching as well. And Joy is from Alabama. Hi, Hilda is from South Carolina. Welcome, Hilda. And Tina is from the UK. Ruth, it's good to see you as well. Okay, so let's dive on in here. We had a ton of questions that were pre-submitted from both Instagram and Facebook. If you're not following me over on Instagram, you'll want to join me over there on jamie.scott. And if you're not following us on YouTube, you can check us out at 5 to Love. We are just excited to share what we're up to these days, and it is a little bit noisy. The new neighborhood I've moved into, they are building homes like crazy out here on the outskirts of town, and so there's a lot of moving trucks and all kinds of things going on outside this front door. Rachel Wilkie, it's good to see you, and thank you. I just barely got ready for the day. My hair needed a good washing. I don't know if anybody else's hair is just not that great by the end of August. So I had to do just like a deep cleanser with my hair. So I'm just running a little bit behind than I normally do. Alice is from Fresno, California. Welcome. And Deb is from Wisconsin. Sharon is from Memphis. Hi. And Teresa has just joined us as well. And Rosa just jumped on here as well. Gloria is from Houston. Welcome, Gloria. And Lori is from Wisconsin. Hi. And Karen just joined us as well. Okay, let's dive on in here. We had a ton of questions come in about the quintuplets and Landon adjusting to back to school. Jen asks, how are the kids adjusting to separate classrooms, and do they have a favorite subject in school yet? And Dario Canine Companions also asked, what is the favorite subject in school for all the kids? So as you guys know, if you've been watching these lives, we split up the quintuplets into 4 separate first grade classrooms. Violet and Lincoln are in the same class. It works out really well with the balance of the oldest and one of the younger of the boys. And separating the boys has actually been the best decision yet, I think, because they're able to grow and develop more individually than paired together all the time. So I think that's going really well. Lily is adjusting. She really likes her new teacher, and she is Mrs. Social, so she likes making new friends, so she's having a good time. Daisy Kate, sweet Daisy Kate, she is loving her new class, and she's talked about being in the same classroom as some of her friends from kindergarten, and that's been fun to see. There's one boy in particular that all my girls find just charming and adorable, and he's a really good friend to everybody. He is in Daisy's class, so Daisy's really excited about that. Logan's doing really well. It's his same teacher from kindergarten. She's very patient with him and understanding. He's a sensitive little guy. And so change and learning new concepts sometimes just takes a little bit more for Logan to get used to, but he is the sweetest kid. So we're really happy that he has the same teacher as last year. Who am I missing? I've talked about Violet. She's doing really well in school, and I'm excited to see how Violet does not being in the same classroom with her sisters. So we will see. The Quints are really enjoying recess, and they're really enjoying making new friends. So it's been really fun. Thank you. Whoever sent me 500 stars. Last week somebody did that as well, and it shot like arrows at my face. I don't know why it does that or what exactly the stars mean, but thank you for sending those. Irma is joining us as well. Michelle, welcome. She's from Fort Worth, Texas. Okay, our next question, or the other question that came in, what is their favorite subject in school? Landon really loves choir, so he's really loving having the same choir teacher that Shayden had. He works with the kids at both the middle school and the high school, so Landon's really loving that. He's excited because I think in his weight training class, it's one of our former neighbors, and he's the old football coach, so he is just really great with the kids, and Landon's excited because he gets to help out, I think, with the football team. So anyway, Landon's been enjoying school, and he loves being able to see his friends. As far as the quintuplets, some of the kids really enjoy math, some are more artsy. Some enjoy PE, and some really enjoy recess more than anything. I think the consensus so far is they really enjoy making new friends. They really enjoy lunch. Or as Lily said, I made the worst lunch ever because it wasn't her favorite sandwich. She really likes sun butter and strawberry jam as opposed to peanut butter and grape jelly. So anyway, each of these kids are just so very different. Okay, our next question is from Canny MA00. Would you consider homeschool? Skylar and I, a few years back, did consider homeschooling our kids, but we have made the decision to put our children into public school, and public schools here in Southern Utah do a really great job with kids. I know it's different in different places of the country and throughout the world, but we really love the public school system here in our Southern Utah hometown. Another question that came in is from SB Monsey. I'm in New York. We don't start school till usually September 4th or 5th. How come you start school so early? I think one of the reasons that our school starts in August is it is just so dang hot here in Southern Utah. And so it's really nice as a parent to have our kids in school, air conditioning, learning constructive things. And then we do get out earlier in May. So we play, and usually, I mean, like there's a lot of us here in Southern Utah. It's so hot that like to head out of town, go on vacations and trips. So for us, that's when school starts, is in August 12th. And it's been really great, I think, for the quintuplets. Okay, we had so many questions, you guys, come in. Texas starts in August, somebody said, and Christina said their local schools just started today. The quintuplets are doing really good. I'm really glad that we moved them forward into the first grade. Debbie is from Syracuse, Utah. Cindy just hopped on here as well. Hi, Cindy, welcome. And Michelle says Texas started last week. So yes, throughout the country and the world, I know everybody's school system starts at different times. We had another question come in. When did the girls get their haircut? So if you saw my Instagram story or Facebook story, Lily did get a haircut with bangs, and she really loves her new haircut. Their Aunt Stephanie, Skylar's sister, cut their hair. And all three girls wanted their hair short. So they all have short little bops right now. And they really love combing their own hair and taking care of their own hair. And they've each got a style all their own as of late. Card Stand Fan 76 asked, I noticed you did not get bunk beds for the girls' room. Are you still planning on that? Stay tuned for my up and coming vlogs. Probably next week. I have a brand new bed, maybe that gave it away, that is going to be delivered by this weekend. So when the Quints are with their dad next week, I'll be putting that together. I changed my mind 3 times on which beds to go with. So the quintuplets have been home at my house for the last 3 days. The last 14 days they've been with their dad. And I had all of the girls' beds lined up, like all in a row. And it was so tight in that bedroom. And originally I was like, okay, I think I'm going to do that. I'm not going to do a bunk bed. I'm going to do all 3 beds in a row because it was really cute. But trying to clean up toys and walk just around that space was just not functioning well for the girls and I. And so anyway, I've got a new bed that was just ordered. Originally, I ordered one off of Amazon, and then I found this bed that I've ordered off of Home Depot. So I'm really excited. So stay tuned for that as we decorate each of the kids' bedrooms, including Landon's. I seriously love this new place that we are in, and it provides so much natural light and space for the kids and I. We're loving it. So stay tuned for my up and coming vlogs. I'll be sharing that. Cheryl asked, what was the birth order of the quintuplets? So if you were new to our channel here, the quintuplets were born at 29 weeks, and the birth order was Violet, then Daisy, then Logan, then Lincoln, and then Lily. And the birth order was in that way just because the doctor that delivered them was left-handed, and that was the way he pulled the kids out. So anyway, that is their birth order, and I would say that's pretty accurate. If you study psychology, like that really is their birth order. Violet really is the leader, and Lily is the youngest in the family. Rosemary asked, do you have a daily and weekly schedule? For example, like Monday, wash day, etc. So now that we are settling into our new home, I've been here for about a week and a half, I want to say, if that. The Quints have been here 3 days, and Landon has only been here, I think, for like a day or two, with sharing time with Dad and I. So we are adjusting to a new schedule and a new routine. I typically do my laundry when the quintuplets are at their dad's. It's just easier that way. That way I'm not in the back room doing laundry all day. And this new place, unlike my last house, has the typical one washer, one dryer, and I think that's sufficient. But I have to do more loads of laundry and it takes longer. So I just do it when the Quints are gone. As far as like cleaning my house day, I haven't decided what I'm going to do there yet. It'll probably be like, I typically tidy up our home every evening with the quintuplets. We do the best we can. Some days it's a little bit more messy when our lives are a little bit busier, because I really want to put my family first and my kids first. So if the house is a little messy, some days it's just going to be a little bit messy. I don't know if any of you moms can relate to that, although I do love having order and a clean and tidy home. As far as cleaning my house, that's probably gonna happen on the days when the Quints are gone at their dad's, because as you know, raising kids, things don't stay immaculately like clean when you're living a busy life with kids and new routines and back to school, but we just do the best that we can. My Beauty Today asks, what does your daily prayer life look like? How do you cultivate your faith? I thought this was a really thoughtful question. Before I had the quintuplets, I would pray before I got up out of bed, at night, before I go to sleep, and then 3 times a day for each meal. But for me, prayer looks different now, having quintuplets. I usually am praying in my heart or like in my mind throughout the day. Usually I am on my feet going, and so I'm just kind of talking to God throughout my day, so it looks a little different. I do still pray 3 times a day, just with meals, and then we try and say family prayer every night before the kids go to bed. I just find that it's really helpful in coming together as a family, and gathering is so important, raising kids. So anyway, that's kind of what it looks like for me. I do keep a journal. I've kept a journal since I was 6 years old. So for me, that's really helpful, like prayer, meditation, balance. I'm realizing like it's okay to slow down and just breathe, especially moving in. I just felt like I had to be like on like all the time. And dating this sweet guy that I'm dating, he's like, you know, you don't always have to be on, like you don't always have to be 100%. And I'm like, okay, I can just breathe. It's okay. So anyway, I thought that was a really good question. The other portion of the question was, how do you cultivate your faith? I think to me, faith is such a personal thing. And each of us is different with our relationship with God. And I look at my own children, and my relationship is different with each of my 7 children. And I think God probably views his children the same way. He loves us all the same, but loves us different because each of us are different. And so I just try and take those moments, whether it's out in nature, to commune with God, listening to good music. Like today on my playlist in the shower, I listened to like the violin and piano on like Apple Music, because it was like really soothing and I could just hear myself think. So I think it's different for everybody. I know each of us have different faiths. And I like talking about things that bring us together instead of differences that separate and divide us. So anyway, I thought she asked a really good, relevant question. I would like to know, and I'll go back and read through the comments, how do you cultivate your faith, and how do you take time for balance? Is it through nature? Is it through your church congregation? Is it through prayer? Is it through scripture study? Is it through poetry? Like, is it through art? Everybody is so very different. And I love hearing people's just experiences of how you've learned to navigate that in raising your family, in raising kids, whether that was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, or if you're in the middle of it right now like me. Okay, the next question is from Robin, Coastal Grandma. How is everyone adjusting to your new home? We definitely are adjusting. I think transitions for Landon being in 9th grade are pretty smooth. He seriously loves this new house. It's modern, it's transitional, it's clean, it's bright, it's full of light. So he loves his new space. The quintuplets really thrive on having consistency and a routine at both my house and their dad's house. And so having this new place, it is a transition for the kids, and they are voicing the things that they love and the things that they don't love. But I think they're loving the new space. They're really loving their new playroom. They're really loving, the girls have really been loving decorating. And so they are just into creating a home. And it's just been really fun to see my girls at 6 years old get excited about creating a beautiful space. And I think that can be done at any age. Violet does miss her bunnies, so that is something that I will be addressing here in a minute with our new house. Becky Lynn, 74 to you, asks, what's your favorite 3 foods? My top favorite food, and maybe this is weird, maybe nobody else likes this, I really love cucumbers and vinegar with ice and salt and pepper and water and vinegar. Like, it is just like tart and crisp and it tastes so good. That is probably the #1 thing I craved when I was pregnant with the quintuplets. That and salad. I am not a salad girl. So like if I go to a restaurant, I never order a salad. And when I was pregnant, that's what I wanted more than anything. So favorite foods, cucumbers and vinegar, I would say spaghetti. And I also like chocolate. So probably that. I think a world without chocolate would just be hard. Whitney Hunter 3 asks, since you moved, does that mean no bunnies? Okay, so let's talk about the bunnies. I found a new home for the bunnies. We gave them and gifted them to my cousin and his wife, and they sent us a picture of the bunnies, and their kids love these bunnies. So if Vivi or my kids ever are missing our bunnies, we can always go visit them. And I would love to have bunnies again, but our new place, we are renting. We cannot have pets here. And so anyway, we gifted those sweet bunnies to my cousin, and they are loving them already. But it is weird to not have pets. I really miss that. As we had kitchen scraps and I was cutting the tops off of strawberries when we made parfaits for dinner the other night, I was gathering everything up to like go give our leftovers to the rabbits. And I was like, oh yeah, we don't have chickens and we don't have rabbits anymore. So I do want those things again. I do want a garden again. So we will see in a year's time where we go from there. We have Dia 118 asks, I wanted to know more about sensory friendly clothing. I don't know if anybody else has to have sensory clothing like me and then several of my children. So sensory friendly clothing are usually things that are not scratchy or itchy. The clothing is like really stretchy. I don't know if you guys can tell, but like every shirt I ever wear, it almost feels like pajamas. I don't like clothes with like a lot of structure because they just feel tight and stiff and itchy, and I like to be able to move and I like flow. That's important to me in my life. And my kids, surprisingly, are the same way. Their dad is that way as well, and so is Shayden, and so is Landon. So my kids, as they've gotten older, have expressed they don't like clothes where they can feel tags or the stitches in the clothing or stiff clothing. They like to feel comfortable. My big boys like clothing that's a little bit oversized. I tend to buy one size up with my clothes as well because I like things just to feel loose and comfortable. The little kids, I've noticed that there are companies now that are realizing that some people, especially kids, really need good afternoon, Sandra, to you too. Love your new place. Love your family. Thank you. Love you right back. So companies like Cat and Jack are coming out with more sensory friendly clothing. So they are putting tags now at like the bottom of t-shirts or at like the bottom of a dress. So it's not as itchy and you can't feel it. Other companies are coming out with more sensory friendly clothing just in your typical stores. Walmart has come a long way, I feel like, with their children's clothing as well. Carter's have made changes with the way they have clothing. And I know that some people, if they have kids that are on the spectrum or had kids with sensory processing things. It's just more comfortable and easier to shop when we have sensory friendly clothing for our kids. So maybe I will film even just like clothes shopping of how I pick out sensory friendly clothing. I usually go first and foremost by touch and how clothing feels. So online shopping is a little bit trickier sometimes because I like to feel in touch unless I'm comfortable with the brand and I know what it is and I know that my kids will wear it. But anyway, clothing companies I feel like have come a really, really long way. So I thought that was a good question to ask. Okay, our next question is, okay, somebody asked, does Chad, the person I'm dating, does he get told he looks like Tom Hanks a lot? I asked him that question. I laughed out loud. I was like, I've never thought of him looking like Tom Hanks. He says that over the years, he has been asked that quite a bit. He's been told, you look like Tom Hanks. I don't see it personally, but maybe you guys do. I have shown him in the vlogs a little bit more. I just am sensitive in introducing new people, I guess, because some people online just aren't very nice, and I'm very protective of relationships that I have and the people that are in my children's lives. But I thought that was an interesting question. Christiane says, lots of love from Germany. You've been watching us a long time and I wish you the best. Thank you. Liz Jessup just joined us. Welcome, Liz. Cheryl, yes, take us clothes shopping with you. Okay, my favorite places to shop are TJ Maxx, Walmart, Target, Amazon. I like looking at reviews. I like affordable clothing options. I like basics where we can mix and match and make lots of clothing items. Karen says she's joining us from Australia. Pat says, I'm an older woman. I love silky shirts. I love things. My girls are that same way. They love silky things too. I like sensory friendly toys too. And I know that might sound strange, but Landon and I have talked about this. There's something about being able to touch and feel and play and manipulate toys that are wooden things. And so I really like certain brands that come out of the UK, Australia. I really like, so anyway, for like Christmas and stuff, I'm happy to share some of the things that we really love. I also love some toys that come out of Sweden, the brand Mayleg Mice. They're just beautiful items and open-ended toys. I love things like that. I was so impressed little grandma was able to get up the stairs on the second floor. And John asked, how is your sister? And Joanne actually asked that question. My sister Kate is doing really, really well. I actually just talked to her today. She visits little grandma every single Wednesday. They get together, watch a show, spend time together with some of her great grands, as she calls them. And yeah, Katie's doing well. She's doing really, really well. And little grandma amazes me. If you guys have been following us for a really long time, she really is exactly what you see. She's just an angel. And she was excited to see our new home and greet the quintuplets after not seeing them for a couple weeks while they were spending time at their dad's house. And we just love and adore her. And she really has such a special relationship with these kids. She's darling and we love her. And we usually get to see her every Sunday. And I know the Quints are going to be excited to see her for Sunday dinner. I prefer tagless clothing as well, somebody says. And Karen just hopped on here and is joining us as well. Welcome. Okay, our next question comes from Haven. VIDOK, I don't know how you say that. What are your best parenting tips? And she also asks, any advice for people in their 20s? I would say advice for people in their 20s. I'm sure a lot of you gals would have advice for gals in their 20s. I would say enjoy every season you're in. Every season looks different. My 20s look different than my 30s. And in October, I will be entering into my 40s. I would just say live each day to the fullest and don't take life for granted. I think would be advice for any age. That's something that I've been learning and something that I learned through the process of being pregnant with the quintuplets. What are your best parenting tips? I actually was just talking to a friend of mine that has quadruplets yesterday. And she and I were just talking about the art of simplicity. How like we don't need so much stuff in our life to be happy. Like happiness is a choice. It's not a destination. Joy is in the journey. So we were just kind of talking about that. And I thought that was really good parenting advice. And we were talking about, because she has 7 kids too. So if you guys aren't following the Staley Quad Squad on Instagram, she's really fun, Heather Staley. And we just talked about each day our life feels full. So that's what it feels like having hired or multiples. Somebody else said live each day to the fullest too. I agree. Courtney Boyles is joining us as well. Welcome. And Michelle, welcome to you as well. Okay, next question is from Abby Vandenberg. How do you do it as a single mom? I do the best I can is how I would answer that question. How did little grandma get her name is one of the questions on here. That is actually a funny story. So when Shayden, my oldest, who's in college now, was just a little boy and was learning to talk, he had a lot of grandmas and grandpas. He had 3 grandparents on his dad's side of the family, and on my side of the family, he had 6 grandparents. So 6, 7, 8, 9. He had 9 grandparents. Some of them are great grands. But anyway, we let each of them decide what they wanted to be called. So we had Papa Allen, Grandma Sherry. Those are Skylar's parents. And then we had Grandma and Grandpa Smith. And then we had Grandma and Grandpa Honey. That was what I called them as little kids. I just gave myself a thumbs up. And then when it came to little grandma, Big Papa, my grandpa, so the great grandpa, wanted to be called Big Papa. And I was like, okay. And little grandma was like, well, I'm not going to be called Big Grandma. And so she picked the name Little Grandma. And she said growing up, she had a little grandma that was like 4 foot something and truly was a little grandma. And that's what they called her. So she picked her own name. So my kids, they call her Little Grandma. And that's how she got her name. Okay. Tracy asks, what has been your best date with Chad so far? I think the most memorable date was actually our first date and probably our second date. So our first date, we met up at a splash pad, and normally I have not done this, and I don't think I'll ever do this. I brought my kids with me to the splash pad because I couldn't get childcare covered. But his profile picture, he was very clean cut, and he was wearing like his work jacket with like the logo of his business. And so he was just like a class act. And I was like, okay, I'm actually not nervous about my kids being around this person I'm going to meet. And we had conversed a little bit and I felt comfortable around him. So our first date was the most memorable. He was just really easy to talk to. He was very clean cut. This might be weird, but I noticed that he had his legs were shaved, and I thought that was kind of odd. But he told me, okay, so he told me that he rides a bicycle and that he's a cyclist. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. But he was just really kind, really easy to talk to. And by the end of the date, all the kids were excited to meet this new person that I just happened to meet at the park from their understanding. And he was able to hold 2 kids in his hand, like in each arm, 1 on his shoulders, and then he had 2 kids sitting on his feet. And I thought before I left with my kids and got in the car, you know, I kind of like this guy. So we'll see. So then we did our second date. Our second date, he helped me paint my house for like hours on end. And so we just spent a lot of time talking and getting to know each other. And it wasn't like I didn't feel very pretty. I was just kind of sweaty and gross, and we were painting. And I just realized, you know, this guy's really easy to talk to. So we'll see where it goes from there. So far that's been my favorite, most memorable experiences in dating. Tina says, you seem to be so happy talking about him. I'm happy for you. Thank you. And Melissa Dean has just joined us as well. Melissa, welcome. Okay, if you guys have questions, I'm happy to take questions and answer them for you. Let's see what questions we have. Hi from Cape Town, South Africa. So happy for you. Elaine, it's good to see you as well. So Chad actually lived in South Africa for a couple years serving a mission there. And anyway, so it's been fun to learn a little bit more about African culture in South Africa. He's been teaching me a lot. Okay, awesome to see you. So happy. Thank you. I am feeling pretty good today, and I'm loving this new space that we are moving into. Brandy Orr, welcome. Does the new neighborhood have a park? It does, Sarah. It's not as well established as some of these other places here in town, so the trees aren't as big as other places, and right now it is just so hot. But there are parks out here. Who named it 5 to Love is Bernadette's question. Actually, Skylar's brother and sister-in-law, former sister-in-law, kind of came up with the name 5 to Love. And 5 to Love symbolizes the quintuplets, the big boys, and the love we have for our children. And so I still feel like it's a relevant name for our channel. And I thought that was a good question too. Yeah, we have a lot of parks here in Southern Utah. Some of our favorite parks are more in town. But it is so hot, so I don't think we'll really be doing parks until like morning time when it's not so hot. Maria is joining us from Ireland, hi. And Lynn is just tuning in as well. Okay, so anyway, I will take like one more question and then I'm gonna wrap it up here because I need to call Landon back. I just missed a call. Landon just called me and I don't wanna miss that as we are adjusting to a new routine and our new home and bus system and all of that. Janice, hello from Southern Illinois. John, it's good to see you as well. Okay, so first date, he babysat. Second date, he worked. Yes, he's a keeper so far is what I like to say. Ashley Boyd, thanks for tuning in and joining us. I watch these lives all the way from Northeast England. Welcome. And Joanne is from Pennsylvania and Darlene is from Ontario, Canada. Jody Hawkins, it's good to see you as well. Hello from California. Deborah, hello to you as well. Did Tatum go to Shayden's football game? Okay, so you must be from the UK because he plays football and he plays soccer, but in college he's in soccer. He has a game what we call Up North in Northern Utah this weekend, and we are really excited to bring the quintuplets to that, so stay tuned for an up-and-coming vlog. We'll be sharing that. He has a game, and this is our favorite game of the season that we like to take the quintuplets to, so Tatum will be there for that, and we will all be coming up, Dad, Mom, and the Quins to support Shayden there. We're really excited. They will be playing a really, really good team, and it is by far, hands down, our favorite game to watch. So Tatum will be attending that, so I'm excited to see her. It's been a couple weeks since we've seen her, and I know Shayden is missing his sweet girlfriend already. Carla is joining us from Portugal, and Deborah is from Maine. Hi, Deborah. And Joe is from South Carolina. I've always wanted to visit South Carolina. I hear it's beautiful, but also hot and humid this time of year. Beth, it's good to see you. And Barb is joining us from Ohio. Dawn, it's good to see you. She's just joined us. And we've got a lot of comments coming in. You guys, this has been so fun. Hopefully we can do this again next Wednesday. As usual, I love spending time with you. I am going to leave because I need to call back Landon. I just missed a phone call from him. Love to you all. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for our new vlog coming out soon. Love you guys. We'll see ya.